Norman Thomas, 6 times candidate for president on the Socialist Party ticket, said the American people would never vote for socialism. But he said under the name of liberalism, the American people will adopt every fragment of the socialist program.
When this bill is law, 3 strikes and you're out will be the law of the land.
They are absolutely destroying the traditional Western civilization right before our eyes.
And I consider it part of my responsibility as President of the United States to fight against negative stereotypes of Islam wherever they appear.
The intent of the founders, that's what the Supreme Court is supposed to do.
I declare, I'm not going to pay for that wall.
Donald Trump want to protect our nation because he said that if he's in office, he will find the enemy and destroy the enemy.
Welcome to the Abolitionists Roundtable, your all-access pass to the 2016 Red, White, and Blue Conservative Revolution. Join the conversation at 734-822-1600. Now here are your hosts, Del Marsh, Phil Stargell, and Janice Daniels.
All right, thank you for joining the Abolitionist Roundtable. We have a lot on our agenda this morning. We got 1 hour to squeeze it all in. I want you to call in today if you went to the Trump rally in Novi. I heard it was a lot of in the area. Someone told me that it was a lot of traffic jams and stuff like that. So just let me know. I know that for the area, I'm familiar with that area. I used to live in that area before. So give me a call if you did join the Trump rally last night. Again, that's letting us know, folks, that he really believed that Michigan is important in this election. So we want to make sure that we stand with Mr. Trump on this right here. Well, here, folks, we got something. We got a lot that's on our agenda this morning. We got the best, one of the best freedom fighters ever from Troy, Michigan. We had a mayor here. We have the guy with two shows now, Mr. Phil Stargell. You can listen to Phil again at 8:30. On A Moment of Clarity. He has 2 shows, so Phil has become so big time. He come in here with us, and he has another show at today at 8:30. So again, here, this is today's topic. Our question today: we want to try to build a case for America leading this free world. The case for why America should be the leader of the free world. Do you think that's important? Call, if you'd like to join the conversation, give us a call at 734-822-1600, because there is a void. There is a void right now, and we see chaos all across America right now. Matter of fact, Democrats, these are what I call Democrat get out to vote drives. That's what I call them, get out to vote drive. These are not peaceful protests, folks. These people are out here, they out there stealing, breaking windows, causing destruction to property, throwing rocks at police. Matter of fact, you can go to a Democrat voter registration table, you can register to vote, and they'll give you the rocks. Again, this is a Democrat get out to, matter of fact, the Clinton crime family is probably a part of this right here. The Clinton crime family is silent on this right here. The Clinton crime family, they're the ones that did not give any. They come to Flint, but they didn't leave a donation in Flint. The Clinton crime family has billions and billions of dollars in their coffer, and they have not given anything to Flint, anything to Detroit, anything to, George Soros will donate, but the Clinton crime family, they're not going to give anything to anything at all. So today, folks, we're going to fight for, I remember years ago when I was a kid, it used to be, Reagan had this saying that when foreign lands seen that American flag come up and that American soldier came in their nation, they called them Freedom Man. There he is. That's Freedom Man. Today, folks, we're no longer, when foreign nations are in trouble, they're not looking to us right now, because there is a lot of trouble that's going on around the world. And we need a strong, unapologetic American leader. We've had this for me, we've had this guy that's been a community organizer that has helped create and manifest all the destruction that we see today. At first, I'm going to say good morning. We got some sound bites we want to get to. We want you to join the conversation. Also, if you like to, tell me what you thought about the debate. Give me some highlights from your perspective on the debate that happened with Clinton and the news media and Mr. Donald Trump. Yeah. Clinton had, the whole news media and what's his name? He was a part of it. When he interject and he can tell Mr. Trump things that he said and didn't say. Right away he can, but he never mentioned anything about what Hillary, what she said, what false statements she had. Why would they, at a presidential debate, why would they even bring up this birthday issue? What about talking about the Constitution? What about liberty? What happened to these things right here? Whatever happened to talking about limited government, things that where we crossed the line? Hillary, in that debate, to me, she sound a little bit like Bernie Sanders. I want to give, tax. All right, so let's hear from the mayor first. And then we're going to hear from the guy with two shows, Phil Stargell.
Good morning,
Good morning,
Del.
Mayor.
Well, there's a lot of talk about who won the debate.
Yeah.
I think more important is who lost the debate, and who lost it was the American people, because the Democrats always set the agenda. They're like the big dog that sets the agenda, and the Republican Party is like the tail that's wagging afterward and that steps in the crap. That's all they ever do. Republicans are so good at circling the wagon and shooting inward at their most conservative members, and if they're not doing that, they are laying down on the tracks and letting the tyranny train run right over them. They have not learned how to govern. And the American people are suffering as a result of that, Phil.
You are absolutely correct in that. The Democrats have just assumed that they should lead in all of the directions, and they're not following any guidelines. They don't follow the Constitution. They
follow a Marxist guidelines.
Exactly
They do
right.
follow guidelines.
And that's
it's just they're
political correctness.
anti-American guidelines, and we've allowed this to happen.
Yes, and I say, people are saying that the Republicans are weak. No, they are just strong Democrats.
Yeah.
They're not weak because they will compromise their principles.
They don't have any principles, Phil.
Well, the principles are the
principles
the platform,
of Marxism, yeah.
Well, for the Republicans, the principles are supposed to be laid out in the platform. They don't follow that. They follow the easy way, the political correctness. They are led by compromising to the political correctness.
Always. And I really always want to go back to structure. Our divided system, our two-party system, is supposed to be divisive, and we're supposed to debate and discuss and determine what small amount of agreement we can come to. That's limited government. Instead, this big word, like you say, Phil, compromise is the word of the day, and it has been the word of the century, quite frankly.
Yes.
But every time we compromise to the left. We all know
Yes,
that.
exactly right.
And how, Del, are we going to fix this?
Well, again, if we can get a strong, again, it's not just Mayor, that's a good point, because it's not just about a strong leader at the top. It does matter who's at the top. It does matter who's leading the country. It does matter the narrative that the leadership is projecting, but also, it's about us not just voting for our president, but we have Senate races that's people that's coming up for Senate races. We have people that's coming up for Congress. We're going to be voting on Congress
and
positions.
And so what
too.
good am I going to have? What choice do I have?
in addition to that, like yourself, a former mayor, we have mayors that's coming up, we have city council people, so we have other people. So even though the top might change at the ground level, at the grassroots level, they have liberals have because we're busy working and taking care of our families, and so liberals have went in and taken these positions, and they're fighting hard to keep those positions.
And liberal Republicans as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the fight is around groups like Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
Those are formerly the people that were sitting around not doing anything. And now they have gotten a funnel of lots of money funneling into that group and paying people to be out and be mobs. And this is what democracy leads to.
Matter of fact, did you see a report? They had a report that 70% of the people that in this protest in Charlotte, 70% had ID from out of state.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
70%.
Well, Del, you made a very good point in that electing a strong leader isn't the only thing that we need.
That's right.
We need the grassroots to be able to support that strong leader. Now, I want to call out Mark Levin, quite frankly. I used to absolutely love to listen to Mark Levin, and I haven't been able to listen to him for now a year and a half because he is he's almost like he's obsessed with pointing out all the faults of Donald Trump. He has an obligation to use his intelligence to help educate Donald Trump where he might be wrong. Mark Levin should be pointing out to Donald Trump, he should be one of his advisors, not one of his detractors. I find that so offensive that Mark Levin, that great man on the radio, which, by the way, we may not have the radio any longer now that we've turned over the internet to the ICANN group, which we didn't even know about this. All of a sudden it popped up and they say, oh no, we've been talking about this for years now, decades now. Did you hear about this before?
No, and the danger that we face now is, absolutely, because if Hillary gets in there and they go through with this plan, there won't be any opposition. We already don't have an opposition party. Now we won't even have opposition grassroots.
That's right. We won't have the ability to communicate. So now we've got to figure out a way to communicate now that the internet is going to be taken away from us. And why would we elect a person to be president of the United States of America just simply because she has a womb?
And see and the thing is that the campaign right now is because Donald Trump tweets and stuff like that, they want to get people energized to say, well, whatever we can do to get Donald Trump off the internet is all right. So close down the internet and send
somebody's got to talk to Donald Trump about taking the bait. He takes the bait too easily,
and see, he's one of those people that, what you say, if you say something about him, he's going to defend himself right away.
And that's good. I want him to defend America like that.
And that's why I say that what taking the bait is not necessary. That is a liberal Republican thing. They already have told you that they don't support Donald Trump. Now they're going to give Donald Trump some advice. Donald Trump should be allowed to run his campaign like he sees fit, especially if the people that have opposed him from the beginning are giving you that advice.
True.
Well, they have a right to their own opinion, and opinions are like butts. Everybody have them, but
don't finish that one.
Right here. You know what? But here we have a number of things that we want to just get to. Again, the reason that this show today is called "The Case for Why America should be the leader of the free world" is one of the things I read. This is from Breaking Christian News, and it points out that it says that new regulation from Obama administration, women's shelter must admit men who claim to be transgenders, men who claim to be transgender. And again, here on one hand, we're fighting against the evils that this administration is these are all distractions.
Well, that's right.
We're looking at people that represent maybe if it's 1% of America, But again, he fighting for this 1%, and it's anywhere from 5 to 15% that's fighting for Islam. That's called ISIS. That's called Boko Haram. That's called Hezbollah and all these other groups. But he would turn around and tell you that you cannot call them. They don't speak for Islam.
Yeah.
He'll tell you over and over and over they do not speak for Islam, but all of a sudden
has nothing to do with Islam.
It has nothing to do with Islam, but but Islam, let me just say this right here. Islam is watching this perversion of our nation.
Yep.
This is, and so we're bringing these people in. This is emboldening them. They are angry. They're coming in.
It's the same thing that
the fight against this system
has people blind to asking the question of what is the purpose of the President of the United States always on the side of causes that have nothing to do with bettering America.
Nothing.
And then
more confusion.
And people like myself will ask, well, what is the reason that somebody would agree with Sharia law, let's say? And you know what their defense is? And I'll give you the guy. Alibieri is the guy that is a security apparatus for the Homeland Security. He writes the laws. And he says he believes in Sharia law because it will make him a better Muslim. Well, wait a minute.
Yeah.
What we should do with immigration, like any other subject, is that whether or not it is a benefit of America, whether it makes America a better place.
Whether a law makes you a better Christian.
Well, let's say not even a better Christian.
Well, I think it is.
But a better American.
Well,
and that should be the reason why you import people into this country, not to make him a better individual, because all of the laws are not for individuals under this administration. They're for groups, to make groups more prosperous, to make groups participate in the American dream instead of the individual. As a group,
and not the individual.
And the Muslims, the Islamists, or whatever, they benefit from this principle that this administration is responsible for, and it's basically political correctness.
Well, this is his strategy,
yeah.
and so we will soon find out. I just read something. I didn't pull up the story. The president said he can't wait to be out of office so that he can be more outspoken about some of the things that's happened in this country.
Because if he could stay in office. Yeah. He's like everything else he's done. He's lied from the moment he's come into this. He would just beg to be able to stay in power so he could put his perverted idea of what this country stands for. He's always talking about
for a purpose too.
Yeah.
This perversion has happened for a purpose. It's to point at America and say, you let all this perversion happen so Islam can fill that void.
Yep.
In America. I'm telling you, he want to turn America into a Islamic country.
Right.
Remember, he said this right here. He said that, I remember years ago, he said, we just kind of brushed it off. He said America is one of the biggest, if America was an Islamic country, we would be the biggest Islamic country in the Western Hemisphere. Yeah. And we all scratched our head. We have a small percentage of Muslims here. Why would he say something like that? Well, he saw something different than what we saw. He saw that if I can pervert this nation, because we have ill-will people, they believe that this is noble. Some of the things that he's doing.
And the perversion starts with making irrelevant the Constitution.
Yes.
Next,
Constitution. He only mentioned that in passing every now and then when he need to have you shut up.
That's political correctness.
Yes.
He disregards the Constitution while he uses the Constitution, and this is an admitted principle of part of his administration. Valerie Jarrett, she said it. I just read it to you last week.
Right.
What he's doing is using our laws to make things better for other, what do you call it, cultures.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, he's trying to bring other cultures in here and
Well,
elevate
he's bringing
these
them.
other
He's brought
and,
them.
and bringing but here, let's
And
get
if you
to-
object,
Del,
then
there's a
you're a
couple of
racist.
events I need to. There's a couple of events we need to.
Well, here, can we do this right here, Mayor? At the first, when we come back from the break, I'm gonna let you go ahead and talk about the events that we have coming up. But I want to
Right.
get to a caller real quick, and then we're gonna keep the show moving. And I want to say good morning to Gary from Roseville. Good morning, Gary.
Morning, Gary.
Good morning, Del and Phil and Janice.
Good morning.
I have just been so ticked at, the media is pulling out all the stops
Right.
and to destroy Trump. And the latest thing has got to be this. He's sexist. He hates women. This pageant.
Right.
Beauty pageant lady, yes.
I mean, this is so phony because I turned on Megyn Kelly, and as far as I'm
Which is your
concerned, she's a
first
closet
mistake.
feminist. She definitely is, harping on this stuff.
Right.
And she says how, you can't be fat, and, he criticizes women for being fat. Well, excuse me, she's sitting up there just as pretty as can be on the air, on a news program, like every news program, and she wouldn't be on the air unless she looked good.
That's right. That's
Like
right.
all of them.
That's right. It's such hypocrisy. It's hypocrisy, and it also is such a diversion from what's really
That's all
important.
it's about.
And that's exactly the bottom line of
It's
it.
a diversion.
Gary, it's a diversion
That's all it
from
is.
what's really important,
yeah.
what we should really be focusing on. Like you say, Islam and the education system and the Constitution, these kinds of issues that are important
They didn't
to
talk
our
about
progress.
things like this at the
But
debate. Gary, did you
also-
go? Gary, last night did you go to the Trump rally?
No, I didn't make it.
You didn't make it.
Didn't make
Okay. All right. Were you finished saying what you wanted to say?
Yeah, I'm just saying, we live in a sexist society, whether you're male or female. Hollywood don't want no, big Berthas on the screen.
Well, I don't think they would do too well. Not too many movies with burqas do well in Hollywood.
I mean, there's a news program. I don't care if it's 6 o'clock news or cable news. They're not going to put a big Bertha on there to read the news.
Well, I don't know.
It's so
they might
phony
try.
what they tell Trump because, he says he hates, I mean, come on. I mean,
Again, this is the news media trying to create a narrative, trying to take down his numbers, trying to get Hillary elected. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Phil.
They have done it. I mean, they've taken off all of the disqualification that is Hillary Clinton. I mean, she should not even be running.
Right.
But
she shouldn't, but she is.
I'm talking about if you want to talk about being qualified to be the president.
Exactly.
See, just because you got to be a senator in a state that you've never even lived in.
Exactly.
And it's all because that they see the success that Obama has had with being
running one term as a senator and then running as a president, voting president.
But they see the success that he has when making everything about race, about racism, not about race, about racism. And now if they could pull this off halfway, what he's done with Hillary Clinton, because he's got his agenda done.
Absolutely,
he's got everything he wanted to get done.
Yeah,
and the Republicans have helped him.
Yeah, well, absolutely, and that's what me and the mayor was talking about. They don't know how, with that word, all they have to do is throw that bomb, that race bomb across the table, and it shut down all conversation. And right away, Republicans give up their 80% and they take 20.
Yep. What qualifications does Hillary Clinton have?
Yeah.
She she didn't pass her law exam. She was
fired
thrown off
from
the Whitewater investigation committee. She married a man who became president. Now, does marriage mean that a woman is successful? I don't think so.
Did you hear in the debate she threw out how her husband was successful? As the president, and that was another opportunity that, for me, I thought that Trump missed.
Yes,
he
missed it.
Gary, thank you very much. Folks, if you'd like to join the conversation, we'll see you on the other side of the break, 734-822-1600. We'll see you then.
he
sempre un amabile leggiadro viso in pianto e riso.
You're listening to the Abolitionists Roundtable, patriotic, red, white, and blue, conservative all-access radio, with your hosts, Del, Phil, and Janice. They're leading the charge and advancing the conservative revolution. Join the conversation at 734-822-1600.
All right, we're back, and you're listening to the Abolitionist Roundtable. You can give us a call at 734-822-1600. If I said it a little fast, I apologize. And again, if you want to listen to this show again, you can go to our website, artofmichigan.com. Click on our YouTube, and you can get all our past shows. And I want you to also, when you're there, go ahead and subscribe. As soon as they're out, it'll be emailed to you. All right, we're going to let the mayor, she'd like to make some announcements.
Well, they're in my hometown, Troy, Michigan. There's a seminar going on right now. It started last night. It's going to conclude today, and that is called the Sheepdog Seminar. It's a response to violence. You can get more information by going to www.sheepdogseminars.com. That's sheepdogseminars.com, and it says that who should attend. Church staff personnel, police officers, all first responders, church security teams, and everyone concerned about violence. What they're going to try to focus on is how we combat violence in our malls, in our houses of worship, in our theaters. So that sounds like a really good seminar.
It does.
And unfortunately, we missed last night, but maybe we can get there sometime today. And then David Barton of Wall Builders is going to be in town, which is excellent. It's going to be at the Imagine Theater at 39535 Ford Road in Canton, Michigan. This is going to be on October the 10th. Ticket price is $50, and this is going to be to help elect Jeff Noble. So I need you to respond at www.votejeffnoble.com, VOTEJEFFNOBLE.com, or for more information, you can call Jeff at 734-335 0104. Those are two real good things going on in our community that I would hope that our listening audience would embrace and attend. Back to you, Del.
All right, thank you, Mayor. Here, I want to, before we got some callers on the line, I want to get to a couple of sound bites because we got a few of them, and then we're going to get to our call. We want to keep the show moving. Let me just mention this. In the debate, why did they bring up, now again, they don't talk about liberty, they don't talk about the Constitution, they want to bring up this birther thing, and Hillary want to make sure she's outside of that narrative. I didn't, he tried to, show that it was her. He, way before he even decided that he wanted to run for president, this is way back in 2008, where Hillary Clinton is the one that put out those pictures and did all these other things. But one of the things that I noticed, I went back and looked at his birth certificate. I just looked at it. I'm not a birther, and folks, we're going to find the truth out after he leaves. But I noticed one thing, that on the birth certificate, they had his father's name, but they had African. Okay. And so I looked at my birth certificate, and it says that it had the word Negro on there. I don't know if you looked at yours in a while, Phil, but and I was born in 1964. Second thing, it said that he was from Kenya, East Africa. Okay, I googled Kenya, East Africa, 1961. It didn't exist.
Nope.
It was under British control at that time. So how can his father be from Kenya, East Africa? But anyway, I'm just bringing out some things, folks. I'm not a birther at all. But that was interesting, wasn't it?
Yeah. His
go ahead.
That's the reason why. That is the main reason why he sent the bust of Winston Churchill back to England, because he was angry at the supposed bad treatment of his grandfather at the hands of the colonialists from England.
And so Kenya didn't exist.
No.
This is it. It did not exist as a nation. All right.
And he benefited from it.
Go ahead.
He benefited from it because he was able to use a passport from England to do some traveling into these countries after he was old enough to do a little traveling. So, and then once there is some
did he go to Mecca? He probably went to Mecca.
He traveled on a passport from England.
I don't know too many Christians that would want to go to Mecca, but
exactly, and there aren't too many that'll be allowed in either.
Yeah,
I mean, and they better not be talking about bringing in no Bible. So.
All right, Derek, I want to play a soundbite, and we're going to get to our calls in a few minutes. If you don't mind, hold it off for a few minutes, and you can still talk about whatever it is that you want to talk about. But this is the president, and this a Gold Star parent asked him a question about why he don't use the word radical Islam, and so I want to let you hear from his own words, and then we have some other sound bites that I want to play that contradict what he just said. So, Derek, if you don't mind playing 801 for me, please.
What I have been careful about when I describe these issues is to make sure that we do not lump these murderers into the billion Muslims that exist around the world, including in this country, who are peaceful, who are responsible, who in this country are our fellow troops and police officers and firefighters and teachers and neighbors and friends. And what I learned from listening to some of these Muslim families, both in the United States and...
Pause there for a minute. I just want to say, folks, he's off the teleprompter, so that's why he's trying to dissect his words. But anyway, go ahead and finish up there.
Overseas is that when you start calling these organizations Islamic terrorists, the way it's heard, the way it's received by our friends and allies around the world is that somehow Islam is terroristic. And that then makes them feel as if they're under attack.
Yeah.
In some cases, it makes it harder for us to get their cooperation in fighting terrorism. So, do I think that if somebody uses the phrase Islamic terrorism, that it's a huge deal? No. There's no doubt that these folks think that and claim that they're speaking for Islam. But I don't want to validate what they do. I don't want to, if you had an organization that was going around killing and blowing people up and said, we're on the vanguard of Christianity, well, as a Christian, I'm not going to let them claim my religion and say you're killing for Christ.
All right, thank you very much. I wanted you to hear that part. He just set himself up, but then he set himself up so often because you can go to YouTube and pull up everything that he say. Yeah. All right, go ahead, Phil, because he just set himself up for something.
Look at that ring on his finger, on his wedding band, and that says no other God but Allah. Okay, that tells me everything I need to know right there. But the thing about it, he has absolutely no problem calling people in the Republican Party or people that disagree with him racist.
That's right.
Has no problem with it.
With a broad brush.
Yeah.
Broad brush.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, he wants to talk about the billion Muslims.
He want to make sure he point out that there's a billion of them.
Okay, now let's look at this. If just 1% is
that's all you need.
Yeah, is sympathetic to terrorism, that's 100 million.
That's right.
So I mean, come on here. Let's get real here. He's so busy defending this kind of behavior that he wants to. He doesn't matter at all about lumping all policemen as racist.
That's right.
Which is basically terrorists. So he has no problem with that. I mean, that is that word racist. If I had one advice to give you white people out there listening, I tell you that you should try to figure out a way to make racism and the word racist as the Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton did with the N-word. Just don't allow nobody to use it.
It need to be buried, don't
That's
it?
right.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Mayor.
Well, Obama said that no religious rationale would justify harming people or killing Muslims. Well, I want to read the Quran, one little part of it, 4.89. They wish that you should reject faith as they reject faith, and then you would be equal. Therefore, take not to yourselves friends of them until they immigrate in the ways of God. Then, if they turn their backs, take them and slay them wherever you find them. Take not to yourselves any of them as friend or helper. Okay. That is directly from the Quran, the supposed holy book of Islam. And Obama is absolutely delusional, or he is deceptive. You know, the devil has many forms, and he is being deceptive, or he is delusional, and that is no other. There's no other reason for it.
He's delusional, deceptive,
and he should never make that comparison with any kind of passage out of the Bible, out of the Quran. They're not anywhere near. I don't care how you cut it. You can look in the Bible and see things about one thing or another, but there's nothing in there that advocates killing people.
Right,
and the murder, and the slaughters.
You know, if we would, in America, if we would only follow the Ten Commandments, we wouldn't need all these myriad of laws. I've been saying this over and over and over again, but you got to keep repeating things
it's
to
liberals that
sink
don't want
in.
They want to make sure that they take them out of all your, your municipalities. They want to remove it from all society so that they can have full reign and do whatever they want. And that's why they don't want to look at it, because they have to take responsibility. All right, I want to play one more, and I'm going to get to our call. If you don't mind holding on, play 802. So this is Obama. Now, again, he used this. He said, we don't want to use a broad brush because we don't want to hurt their feelings. We don't want to, it's a billion of them, just because 1% make this claim. Matter of fact, if we could look back into history, all it takes is just a few to pervert. I mean, he wanted, I'm gonna play the sound, try to get to the sound, but he talked about slavery in America. It was just a few states. That's all it was. It wasn't the whole country. That's why we have to reject whenever they say America had what America had. No, America did not. All Americans did not embrace slavery. All Americans did not embrace slavery. And then it was something that was, but when the nation was being formed, it was King George that created, that wanted slavery in this country. So here, but anyway, let's go to now soundbite number 802, and then we're gonna get to some calls.
I recognize that resorting to force may be tempting in the face of the rhetoric and behavior that emanates from parts of Iran. It is offensive. It is incendiary. We do take it seriously. But superpowers should not act impulsively in response to taunts or even provocations that can be addressed short of war. Just because Iranian hardliners chant death to America does not mean that that's what all Iranians believe. In fact, it's those... In fact, it's those hardliners who are most comfortable with the status quo. It's those hardliners chanting death to America who've been most opposed to the deal. They're making common cause with the Republican caucus.
There you go, right there. Thank you very much. Look at that. He just used a broad brush. He just used he the one that in the middle of the night dropped off, billions of dollars in cash to Iran. And even though the hardliners, deaf to America, and the hardliners are the people that's in leadership there. It's not just the people, but the hardliners are the people that's in leadership. And he's saying, well, these hardliners are no different than the ones in the Republican Party. They're no different. The Republican Party is no different than the ones that's shouting death to America. He used a broad brush feel. That means he's talking about you. He's talking about me. Folks, he's talking about you. He's talking about all Americans. He used a broad brush to paint us.
Right.
But you bet not say anything about Islam.
Yep. That's exactly right.
You bet not.
That's right.
Well, he says the future shall not belong to those who slander the prophet of Islam.
Whoa, that's scary right there, too.
Is that the president of the United States that said that, or is that the president of Iran that said that? I don't know anymore. I'm getting confused.
It just might be a follower of the principles of Iran. That's where you have to look. That's what he is. He's a follower of that philosophy.
I have to tell you, as I watched the presidential debate, I actually felt kind of queasy because the debate really did make Donald Trump look bad. I thought.
They was trying to.
And that's what they were trying to do. And
do.
he mentioned the microphone, and indeed the microphone was defective.
That's right.
And the questions were one-sided, and Lester Holt interrupted Trump many more times than he interrupted Clinton. Clinton was on script. She was poised. And so even ardent supporters of Donald Trump have to...
Did you hear one thing, that she might have had an earpiece?
Yeah,
I heard that.
They showed the back of her. It looked like a camera. It looked like some cord with a microphone in her. And I'm sorry we lost some of our callers, but if you like to call back, you can join the conversation. We just had to get a few things in. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Finish up,
Well, you
Mayor.
said you never say never, because you said you'd never interrupt me as you were interrupting
And I
me.
did interrupt you.
That's kind of like that broad brush.
That
Don't
is.
say you're going to not use a broad brush and then use a broad brush.
I'm a broad brusher. Go ahead. Especially with liberals. I am a broad brush with liberals.
Well,
But I'd like to know, is
Go
there
ahead.
anybody that has ever seen in the history of this country where the president going out of office, I mean, just tags in on the person that's running for the job? Not only him, his wife is I mean, they're making Donald Trump out to be the worst person that ever walked the earth.
Well, that's true. And when
But
they've
that
got
has
the
never
media,
happened. George Bush went out of office. He never said one thing about Barack Obama being anything but a fine person and a good family.
And wouldn't you have liked to have heard George Bush say a little bit more
Yeah,
about
I would have.
Barack
That
Obama
made me
and what
really-
he has not been doing for this country? That's the problem, you know. Republicans, conservatives, constitutionalists, we all walk that narrow path. And that's a good thing, because ultimately that's the only people that are going to be saved, is those who walk that narrow path.
And I did start questioning George Bush after he left the office because of his friendship with Bill Clinton.
Right.
The way Bill Clinton talked about his dad and got him thrown out of office, that's the reason why he got in office, because people felt that it was an injustice done to George Bush, even though George Bush did not do the things that he should have done.
Yep. Well, we don't have a constitutional republic. We have an unconstitutional fraternity.
Yeah.
This is like a fraternity. It's the
How
old
about
boys, good old boys. Crime
enterprise?
syndicate.
Criminal enterprise. That's what the
Hillary
Clinton,
Capone.
Hillary Capone. Yeah, I just want to make a couple. Let me just read a couple of news headlines. This is from Christian headlines.com. North Korea, Christians crucified, burned, steamrolled on an onslaught of brutal persecution. There's brutal persecution that's going on, but you bet not say anything about Islam. But the president who said, who mentioned that he was a Christian, that he said, I'm a Christian. If somebody said this, that they tried to do this in the name of my religion, I would be outspoken. Well, folks, it's been people that's been outspoken about some of the stuff that he's done in the name of being a Christian. And so he said this to them. And so I want you to listen to one more soundbite, and then play Derek soundbite 803. 803. This is Obama again. He say you can't say anything about Islam, but everybody else is fair game. 803.
How do we, as people of faith, reconcile these realities? The profound good, the strength, the tenacity, the compassion and love that can flow from all of our faiths, operating alongside those who seek to hijack religious for their own murderous ends. Humanity's been grappling with these questions throughout human history. And lest we get on our high horse and think this is unique to some other place, remember that during the Crusades and the Inquisition, people committed terrible deeds in the name of Christ.
Oh my, Del, do you have to keep putting me through
our home
this?
country, slavery.
And our home
Jim
country,
Crow,
slavery and Jim
all too often
Crow.
was justified in the name of Christ.
All right, thank you very much.
Oh my God.
And so, and you know what?
The party that he belongs to.
The party that he belongs to. You notice that they never mention that field.
Right.
Like they just opened up a museum in Washington, D.C., a Museum of African American History.
Yeah.
I would never go. I would never attend. And you know why? Because they're gonna play this broad brush that I've used on the mirror, and I apologize. But this broad brush that it was America that did all these horrible things.
Right.
Well,
and
somebody
never mention the Democrat Party.
Ask somebody.
Or the rest of the world, for that matter.
Did he bring an honored spot for Margaret Sanger as it is in the Smithsonian? Is there an honored spot? Because she's in the Hall of Civil Rights Leaders. She's in there with Martin Luther King and in the Smithsonian. So I would imagine she's right up front in that new museum.
And so he think that murdering our innocent, our precious, people that kids that never committed a crime, never stole anything, never had their day in court. Didn't have their day in court at all, and so on and so forth. The Americans say a number of other things about our most innocent, our most precious.
Yeah,
absolutely. Which reminds me, there's a prayer vigil coming up. It reminds me, another event that's coming up is a nationwide prayer vigil on October the 15th, and I've agreed to be the leader for the prayer vigil in Warren. That's at the 12 Mile and Van Dyke Planned Parenthood baby killing factory. So that'll be October the 15th at 7 o'clock at night. But Del, I want to take a little side road and say this is so amazing, this article that I'm looking at. It's the title says, "Terrorism and Violence Worldwide is at an all-time high. Global Peace Index report reveals." It's like Orwellian. Or the Global Peace Index says violence is at an all-time high. But then if you go into the article, if you have time to go into the article, it says, but beyond the Middle East, the world was actually becoming more peaceful. Researchers behind the index said. Beyond the Middle East. So what is this confusing article that talks about worldwide violence and then says if it wasn't for the Middle East, the world would be a more peaceful place? I don't understand the confusion that this creates.
It's like saying that I am for the war, but I'm against the war. I am for people who want to love somebody, but I'm against them going in the bathroom. I'm against men going in the bathroom. But if they call themselves a transgender, they can go in the bathroom. So this is what we at today.
Confusion,
I am for
chaos.
women's right, but I didn't know that was a baby that's being murdered.
Yep.
I'm for women's rights, but Bill Clinton did a little bit for the economy.
That's right.
And so we can overlook him being abusive to women.
You know what? Donald Trump needs to learn one sentence. Do the American people really care about that? He could use that in answer to so many of these false questions that he's being asked.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Mayor. All right, thank you very much. Folks, go to our website, artofmichigan.com, and we'll see you next week.
Roundtable invites the Wham Talk 1600 listeners to continue the roundtable discussions by mailing correspondence to Art of Michigan, Post Office Box 135, Garden City, Michigan, 48135.
Or follow Phil, Del, and Janice at artofmichigan.com. You can also send emails to artofmichigan@hotmail.com. And most of all, continue to listen every Saturday and tell a friend.